Welcome to Tech Abilities, produced live in the Blind Abilities studio. I want to thank all of you for listening and for sending in your feedback. It's well appreciated. And if you want to send us some feedback, give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave a message. We'd love to hear from you. Or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the tech tidbits and news that we cover in this episode. So without further ado, let's get this show started.
Oh my God.
The precipitation alerts that you can get on the weather app.
Because they still haven't figured out how to just make Siri be stereo in a HomePod mini stereo pair. I don't understand that.
Especially if you've had sight and you're losing it and you get to a point, the acceptance of that slowly grows and, it's tough.
You never know what they'll do in June. They're very unpredictable in June lately.
$22, that's a good, honest wage. You can hang your hat on that one, I say.
Need groceries? Put it in your iCart. Need coffee? Put it in your iCart. You watch. We're bugged. It's going to happen.
3, 2, 1. Where are you?
Am I supposed to count with you? I need you to. I need directions, Mr. Thompson. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson from friendly Fridley, Minnesota. And with me in the studio is Serina Gilbert, all the way from Colorado. How's it going?
Wonderful. But it's Tech Abilities, Mr. Thompson.
Did I say Blind Abilities?
Yes.
What's that?
I don't know.
Welcome to Tech Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson from friendly Fridley, Minnesota. And with me all the way from Colorado, Serina Gilbert. How's it going?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It feels like winter is coming in. I was expecting snow. I really want this weather, but tomorrow it's going to get up to 85, maybe 90 tomorrow.
I am ready. We always start out with weather. We're like so weather obsessed, but I live for these hot days. I love summer. I'm so excited.
Callie's not with us, but she sent a little notification here about the precipitation alerts that you can get on the weather app. I have so many weather apps that I can't tell which ones tell me what, but I went into it and I saw that you can set it up. I set it up so I'll get the notifications for basically wherever I'm at, my location. Setting up the weather app precipitation settings, it's pretty straightforward. You can ask Siri to open the weather app, or you can find the icon on one of your home screens,
weather,
and do a single finger double tap.
Fridley, 68 degrees, partly cloudy, high 71 degrees, low 53 degrees.
Once you're in the weather app, you can either do a 4-finger single tap near the bottom of the screen, just go all the way down to the bottom of the screen and start swiping right to left to go back up a little ways. And you'll find the Manage Notifications button.
Manage Notifications button.
Do a single finger double tap.
Manage Notifications heading.
I landed at the top of the page, so I'm going to single finger swipe to the right.
Done button. Weather will send you a notification when rain or snow is starting or stopping. Current location heading. My location switch button on.
I have mine set up for my location, wherever I'm at, because that's where I want to know it the most. But I can also turn on other cities to find out when they're getting rain, sleet, snow, that type of stuff.
Your locations heading. Minneapolis switch button off. Colorado Springs switch button off. Miami switch button off.
And like I said, I chose
my location switch button on.
So you make your choice. You get notified when the rain, sleet, or snow is coming or going to stop in whatever location, whether it's your family, friends, co-host of a podcast, or wherever your curiosity lands you. With the weather app precipitation settings, you'll be in the know.
Well, I remember, it was our last one we recorded, and all those alerts went off when gosh, that was a weird day. That must have been the apocalypse or something.
Mm-hmm.
When all your tornado warnings went off, I think you said you got like 3 or 4 of them all at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
But I have to tell you, the weather app, I'm not impressed with their notifications because it'll tell you rain will be starting soon. And you look outside and you're like, it's been raining for like 10, 15 minutes. And then it'll tell you rain's ending soon in your area, which, okay, cool. But like, it just doesn't seem to be as timely as would be nice. I'd like to have like maybe like a 10 or 15 minute head start on it's about to start raining, not like it's going to start raining and it's already been raining,
Yeah, or the rain's going to stop and you look outside and the sun is shining and it's like, yeah, that was a little bit ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would be nice if it was accurate and stuff. Yeah, the weather app, I moved that off my home screen to page 2 or 3. I don't know where. I think it's in my library now. But I've been using, which one do I use?
Is it Dark Skies?
I think so, but they're owned by the same company.
What's weird is if you pull out your phone and ask Siri, what's the weather today?
It's currently cloudy and 63 degrees. Expect clear skies starting early morning, then partly cloudy skies starting in the afternoon. Temperatures will be fairly consistent, averaging about 60 degrees.
It's weird the way it gives it to you. It's almost like it gives you the next 24 hours of weather as opposed to like what's going on like right now and through the end of the day. It's very frustrating.
I just wanted to tell me the forecast the whole day.
Yeah.
It's 65 today. Expect a high of 83 with big chance of showers later on tonight. Boom.
Yep. It doesn't do that anymore. It used to. That's the weird thing. Because this morning I asked, what's the weather? And it said something weird like, it's 65, but it's heading up to 85 tonight. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's 4:00 in the afternoon. It's not going to be 85 tonight. That's tomorrow. It's programmed oddly all of a sudden.
Speaking of updating you on weather and stuff, you got an update to the HomePod Mini, and now it actually plays where you left off.
It does. So for the longest time, and I can't even pinpoint when it started, but when it started, I was just like, oh, this is super annoying. I work throughout the day, from home, and I have Zoom meetings off and on. So in between, when I'm trying to like really focus on stuff, I need music playing to really focus myself. So I'll just start a playlist kind of in the morning and then just kind of pause and start as the day goes on. And it used to like lose my place. Like I'd go to try to hit play and it just wouldn't play. And then like I'd forget that I even hit play, or sometimes you accidentally brush over the HomePod Mini screen.
Oh yeah.
And hit play because I don't have voiceover turned on it because it's not complicated to use without voiceover. I think it's easier. And then like 5 minutes later, all of a sudden it just starts playing. So they pushed out an update, I think it's 15.5.1 to the HomePod software. And it specifically said it fixed a problem where music would unexpectedly stop playing. And it's been working far smoother this last 24 hours than it was before that update got pushed out yesterday. So I'm super happy. I know it's like such a first world problem, but it's really frustrating when you're like trying to get it to just play. And now you don't know if you've played or paused it. And all of a sudden just randomly it starts playing. So glad they fixed that finally.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out a while back what was going on, but my cat would come by and step on the top of that or touch the top of it. And also my music would start playing like, whoa, what's going on here?
It'd be way far away from when she stepped on it too, wouldn't it?
Well, the other thing is because you activate it that way, the next time I ask a question, I turn my head and it's talking out the other one.
Oh, because she's pushed her paw on it and like held it on that side. Because they still haven't figured out how to just make Siri be stereo in a HomePod Mini stereo pair. I don't understand that.
I think that'd be really cool because my Sonos in the kitchen do that sometimes. It tries to talk back to the one that you were talking to. But if you're just asking a question in the kitchen, which, isn't acoustically set for, perfect sound, it bounces around a little bit or goes off the refrigerator and goes up there. I'm looking at one, all of a sudden I get answered out of the other one. And it's like, who's talking to you?
You're like, oh my gosh, who's in the house?
Yeah, ghost.
That reminds me of just this, I guess we can call this a blindism. I don't even know if that's the right word, but the other day, and this is so embarrassing. So I have just enough sight to see where there's like outlines of stuff sometimes, like when I walk through my house or I glance over. And I was walking through my kitchen and my husband had left these bags from the food he'd picked up, like from Panera or something on the counter. And we have two small windows on our counter that kind of look out to the street. And I heard a weird noise, at least I thought I did. I still don't know what the noise was. And I looked over and I thought that my husband was trying to play a joke on me. So I'm like talking, I'm like, are you acting weird over there? Turns out it was just two bags I was talking to. That were just kind of stacked there perfectly and then kind of combining with the cabinets above it and then the window frame behind it. It just seemed like there was someone standing there. I don't know if that happens to you, Jeff, but it's super embarrassing when it does, even though I was by myself. But
oh yeah, jumping at the shadows too sometimes.
Yes.
You're walking along and there's a shadow there and you kind of step, you do that horse paw at it a little bit.
Or if you think there's like a crack in the sidewalk when maybe there really isn't, or,
Yeah. Or you reach for something and all of a sudden you realize, oh, wow, that's a casserole pan with goulash in it or something.
Oh, it happens to me all the time. I'm constantly having a finger accidentally dipped in like ketchup or,
Yeah, it's interesting, especially if you've had sight and you're losing it and you get to a point. But the acceptance of that slowly grows and, it's tough. It's not that you have to accept it, but you do because you realize how silly that must have looked. Usually these things happen when I'm alone. But,
exactly.
But I'm standing there with goulash on my fingers and I got to go get a paper towel and I smile because, okay. But I start to adjust to that slowly. It's a long long journey, isn't it?
Don't you love it? The Bluetooth thing, or somebody says hi to somebody next to you and you're like, hi. And then they keep walking. You're like, oh my gosh, you were not talking to me. It's super embarrassing. That happened to me just 2 days ago. I was standing waiting for Trey to come out of school, and there was someone maybe 6 feet away from me sitting on the bench. I was just kind of standing there, and somebody walked by and said something, and I was like, hi. And then they clearly were not talking to me.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be rude if they were talking to you.
And we're not that lonely that anybody that says hi would just, hi. Oh, yeah, that happened. I remember the day when cell phones became popular. You know what I mean? Yeah, not those big Velveeta-sized boxes people were walking around with, look like a...
The Saved by the Bell phone, like the Zach Morris phone.
The huge thing. But you'd be at a bus stop and someone would have an earpiece in, those earpieces, And all of a sudden they'd be talking and you start turning around talking like, hey, it is a great day. Excuse me, I'm on the phone. Ooh, excuse me. Changing times, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, now it's AirPods, so you never even know what's going on. So
I really like my AirPods Pros. I really do. I use them as much as I can.
I need the second ones. I'm so ready.
I don't know what the improvement's going to be. I know the case might be able to locate the case by, because if you can't find them and they're both in the case.
Oh, it's so annoying. I'm like, what's the point? I don't lose them out of the case usually. I lose the whole thing if I'm going to lose them.
It's about the size of a pregnant floss case.
A little bit bigger of a floss case. That's a really good description, yeah.
And I'm looking for them, and my cats know if you push those off the table, these two little things pop out, and you can eat those.
They already ate one of your earpieces, didn't they?
And one still has bite marks in the little part, the left one doesn't work. But I do have a new pair that works really great, and I got the foam tips on one of them and the factory tips on the other one. And you know what, when I'm outside working on the yard or doing something where you're moving around a lot, I like the foam ones because they don't seem to...
a little more secure.
Just a little bit more. I feel that I'm not going to lose them as much. I went to the dentist today and I had the other ones in. And as I'm sitting there and talking, they always ask you a question and then shove stuff in your mouth.
I do not understand why they do that. I have a cleaning on Tuesday. They're always talking to you.
Mm-hmm. And so I had this feeling it was going to fall out. And I'm just sitting there with your mouth wide open and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I took it out and put it in the case, and then I'm hanging on to it and stuff like that. It's like, But those were the silicone tips.
I gave my mom the foam tips because I bought her some AirPods and she was like, these just aren't staying in my ear. So I gave her, I disinfected my foam ones and gave them to her. And the foam ones are definitely comfortable. They definitely stay in better, but they do change the sound quality when you're listening to music. It tampers it a little or so. It just it sounds different.
That could be.
So I switched back to the regular ones.
I listen to music once in a while. Most of the time I'm listening to news or something of that nature.
So you won't even notice.
I did them for grip. The foam ones had better grip at that time. But then again, when I got the new ones, I did not take those silicone tips off and switch them with foam ones. I kept them the same because they work fine.
And I think part of why I'm ready for the next iteration of them is that mine are starting to get to where it seems like the case isn't holding its charge as long, or that the actual AirPods aren't, or it seems like there's some weird thing that malfunctions where the left one fully charged, but the right one's at 1%, even though they were both in the case, just weird little things like that. So, but I don't want to replace them with the same kind yet. I'd rather wait for the new ones because there's a rumor that it'll have lossless audio.
Rumor has it.
Which would be amazing.
Yeah, and they say that the stems might be shorter on them.
I don't mind the stems. I think the size is perfect because it's perfect for you to grab it and push the button if you want to skip a track or whatever. So I guess we'll just see.
Yeah, I have no problem with that either. I mean, I don't know. Is it the look? I don't know. No one's ever said anything to me.
Because the regular AirPods have an even longer stem.
Interesting. It's exciting. June 6th is coming around the corner. Maybe they announce something. Maybe they won't.
You never know what they'll do in June. They're very unpredictable in June lately.
I don't like projections. I don't like these, you get all these tweets, all these things on Facebook. It says, and now the iPhone 20, they're projecting way out to then. By then, it'll be built in.
I've been talking about the 14 since the 13 came out.
Yeah. Rumor has it. We have pictures out of a camp in China. Who knows what it's going to be like. I heard they're going to be probably $100 more. I guess the front-facing camera is going to be very good.
I heard that too.
Yeah, it was supposed to be on the 15, but they ran out of parts and stuff, so they're using it for the 14. And they'll jack up the price just a little bit more. But you expect it, right?
Got to pay for that $22 an hour wage for their retail workers.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
It's good money.
You think the union talks had something to do with that?
I mean, are they trying to unionize? I know some of the Starbucks are trying to and have been successful, I guess.
Yeah, so union talks are coming in. So how do you beat the union? By paying the workers more, right?
But if you think about it, and granted, the Apple Store employees are always exceptional. So I'm sure the pay has something to do with that. But I don't know any other retail stores where the starting wage is $22 an hour for your retail workers. I can't think of any.
I've been out of that market retail.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the price of apartments and everything going up? It's crazy.
Oh, I know exactly how much rent. I'm the horrible landlord.
Well, $22 is a good price today. That's a good, honest wage. You can hang your hat on that one, I say.
Yeah, depending on which city you're living in, for sure. Because $22 in, like, say, Kentucky is going to go a whole lot further than $22 in San Francisco, you know? So if it's $22 across the board, it could really be advantageous for some people in different cities.
Yeah, and a lot of these cities, like even Minneapolis, is starting to spread out a little bit. And I see, like my nephews, what prices they're paying. And with the economy the way it is, it's like, go on to your shopping app that you use, whatever you use, iCart or something like iCart. Instacart.
You might have just given Apple an idea, though.
iCart.
Watch. On June 6th, they're going to announce a revolutionary new shopping experience. Need groceries? Put it in your iCart. Need coffee? Put it in your iCart. You watch. We're bugged. It's going to happen.
Well, do you remember when Walmarts came out and they took the small mom and pop shops out of the picture a little bit because you had a Walmart? Well, you first started out with like your Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's, that type of thing. Well, you didn't have your little hardware stores anymore. And then Amazon came along and that threatened everything for businesses. And now Apple comes along and now they have an Apple Pay card where you can use your funds. I mean, are we taking everybody out of the picture?
See, I think it's a little, because there's some things where I really do like shopping local and supporting small businesses. Like having, like, if I purchase something, the business being like, oh my gosh, look, Serina bought something for me again. Like, let's throw an extra little gift in here for her. Like, there's some things, I think that there's going to have that pendulum swing back to let's support more smaller businesses now because I like where my money is going. Believe me, I'll buy things on Amazon all day, every day. But then I also, if I can, if it's something that I can get locally and conveniently, I will shop local too. So
there is a nice little boutique shop in Colorado Springs.
I know a certain someone also knows and watches the Facebook Lives with me, right, Mr. Thompson?
That's right. The thing is, if you buy it from a small shop in your town, that person earns money, pays the workers, they buy groceries at the local stores, they pay taxes to the public schools and everything. The money stays in the community. But when you go into Amazon or when you go into the Walmarts or the big box stores, that money disappears. It doesn't stay in the community anymore. And that's a big factor if you really want a community to be strong. I don't know how we get that pendulum to swing back.
Solve all the world's problems today, Jeff.
Right here on Tech Abilities.
Of course.
How to block text on your iPhone. That's a problem. I get some of these texts that it says, hey, how you doing, Jesse? It's like, I'm not Jesse.
Someone thinks my name is Carmen. I keep getting those ones. And the PayPal ones kept coming for a good 2 weeks after we recorded. And it's a pain to go block them. It's easier for me to delete them. I'm just too lazy.
Yeah, but if you tap on the phone number that it comes on and then go into info, and then you can go down and block them.
Yeah. But then sometimes I'll have some where it will be a spam one and it'll say, do you want to block this number? Like it'll pop up by itself before you tap all the way. And it's only like 1 out of every 10 spam messages, if that it'll be like, do you want to block this? This looks like spam. So I don't know how Apple decides when to push that pop out because clearly some of these are very spammy and it doesn't even trigger that.
Yeah, I went through my list and I grabbed 2 of them and did the blocking. And then the third one, it said, do you want to report this to Apple?
Exactly. That's the message I'm talking about.
And I was like, why this guy? Why this person?
Exactly. Like, why is this one more spammy than the other 2 I just did?
Yeah, so it's annoying. Kind of threatening a little bit sometimes because some of them are random. Just, whoa, Some
of them are very inappropriate and disturbing to get sometimes. So we'll just leave it at that.
Well, iPhone SOS, there was a lady who used it and it helped her. Have you tried the SOS or have you had it go off accidentally?
I need to check my settings because I know there's one where you can click the lock button 5 times. And I'm pretty sure I disabled that one because, as you know, with VoiceOver, when you're trying to toggle it on and off for whatever reason, you can easily accidentally do 5 times on that. I mean, it's really easy.
Settings. Emergency SOS button. Emergency SOS heading. Animated image depicting the buttons on the iPhone required to call emergency services. Image. Press and hold the side button and either volume button to make an emergency call. Call with hold off. If you press and hold the side and volume buttons, the emergency SOS slider appears. If you continue to hold them, a countdown begins and an alert sounds. When the countdown ends, iPhone calls emergency services. Call with 5 presses on. Rapidly pressing the side button 5 times starts a countdown and sounds an alert. When the countdown ends, iPhone calls emergency services. Emergency contacts heading. Edit emergency contacts in health button. You can add and edit emergency contacts for emergency SOS in your medical ID in the health app. Countdown sound on. Play a warning sound while emergency SOS is counting down to call emergency services.
Or if it's in your pocket, if you squat down like on your knees or something like that and it's in your pocket,
And it's just kind of holding it a little bit.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Did I tell you Charles set his off by accident? Because I was like in there and I was like, did you just do the emergency SOS? He was like, yeah, I totally did. But I hung up. And the disturbing thing about it is that it did call the police. A few minutes later, I'm not talking like 30 seconds. It was a few minutes later, they called back and were like, is everything okay? Oh yeah, I just activated the emergency SOS by accident. Okay, bye. And I'm like, if that was a woman who like did activate it, but she was like, unfortunately, like, being held captive, like all the person has to do is answer the phone because the phone's in my name. So it's clearly a female, it was just like, I'm glad that they didn't send the emergency services, but then at the same time, it's like, it's not really foul proof.
Yeah, I think when it goes off accidentally, it's alarming. I mean, of course.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is. And then you start panicking. It's like, oh
no. Like, cancel.
Yeah. And then you get that call.
Did I tell you when we still worked in the office, the phone system we had before the most recent one they put in there to dial out was 6. And we would often have phone numbers where like they're out of town area codes. So it'd be like 917 or something. That seemed to be a popular one. I forget which state that is. So you'd be like 691. I don't know what was wrong with it, but it would always call 911. Always. Then you hear it ringing and you're like, oh crap. So you have to stay on. And then it's really disconcerting because they're like, I'm so sorry I dialed this wrong. And they're like, okay, well, what's your address and things like that. And we'll record it. And it happened so much. It was embarrassing.
Well, I had to call 911 the other night. It was about 2:30 in the morning. We heard the screech sound. And it was definitely a car coming to a sudden stop,
Was there an impact?
The rude awakening, the screech was just reverberating in my head. And Lori was saying, we got to call 911. I said, what happened? Well, didn't you hear it? Yes, I'm up. I mean, it was just,
It must have been very loud if it woke you both up.
I looked out the window and I could see red flashing light, like taillights, hazard lights and stuff like that. I could make that out because it was pitch black, I could see the pulsing of that. And so I called 911 and it rang and it just paused. Then it hung up.
Oh, wow.
But then about a minute later, I got a phone call. 911, you called? And I started explaining to it. And they said they wanted to know who I was, where I lived, and all that stuff.
Yeah, they ask a lot of questions.
It's like, how many people are there? I don't know. It's 2:30 in the morning. It's dark.
And I'm blind.
It was interesting, but...
Do you think they hit an animal maybe? Or
I think so. I think a deer or something. They may have hit it. It was just one of those things, that 911. That just reminded me, you got your phone, These phones that we have, just being able to do that. It's kind of cool.
Well, we live technically just outside the city limits by probably a mile. So we get county services. When I had to call 911 last fall, or I guess last summer, when that dude ran through our fence, I called and I gave them all my info. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to transfer you to county now. And I'm like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me? But it was easier. They transferred me and then they were like, hey, can I help you? And then the dispatcher came on and gave all the info. So I didn't have to do it again. But it was just like, why does it get routed to the city if I'm in the county in the first place? That was time that could have been better spent, actually dispatching someone. So
yeah. So if you accidentally set your phone off, like if you want to shut down your phone, you hold the volume button and the power button, you hold it for 5 seconds, then it comes on. But the top thing says shut down phone. But the first thing it says is
Emergency.
Emergency. It was like, no, don't.
And it's like a countdown. There's also some random codes that you can say to your phone that will also do that. I forgot what they are. It's random codes like you can tell Siri to do. It's not, I wouldn't recommend testing it. But
Yeah, that's like that app called 3 Words. So you have 3 words and the whole earth is mapped out with these 3 words. So these 3 words is your location. So it's a code. Instead of remembering longitude, latitude, you just have 3 words. Like I've done it 7 times and I can't remember them today. I mean, because it's not insignificant, but interesting. 3 words, it's an app. Check it out, people. The FCC fined Twitter $150 million. Are they trying to get in on a little bit of the money bag pockets there or what?
I feel like this is like the 3rd or 4th episode in a row we've talked about Twitter. And then if you go back to all of our episodes before, that's probably been like years since we talked so much about Twitter. But apparently you are correct. The FCC fined and Twitter already paid $150 million for misuse of personal information to target advertisements. Apparently they were accidentally, according to Twitter, using phone numbers and email addresses to retarget or to target their ads to some users. So I don't know how they got caught. I don't know if there was like a whistleblower or what, but could you imagine? Like, you know, if I'm not a driver, but I know like, man, I got a speeding ticket, like $100. Could you imagine like getting that bill? Like, here's your $150 million fine, Twitter. Like, jeez.
I can't imagine that. And, you know, information that's out there, it's like when we try to be private or when we try to be secure and stuff like that, does it really matter anymore today?
No.
I don't know. 10 years ago, I would never be thinking that we do what we do on our phones.
Talking to them and stuff.
Talking to them, banking, shopping, paying, everything.
Apple Pay with your face, you know. Did you know? It's a super random factoid. I was trying to send a Starbucks gift card to someone as like a thank you. And I went to the Starbucks app. I was like, cool, I'll just put their phone number. In the Starbucks app, you cannot, it's only like email. So then I Googled it. I was like, there's gotta be a way. So if you go into your iMessages and hit the apps button to pull up all that list of apps and then go to the Starbucks one, you can text a gift card to someone through iMessage, which is really cool.
Really?
Yeah, super cool.
And it'll take it out of your Apple Pay?
Yeah, you just pay with Apple Pay and then it sends it to them, kind of like if somebody Venmos you. So then they tap on it and they can add it to their Starbucks account. It's super cool.
It's really cool what Apple's doing right now because with Apple Pay, you couldn't use that on your Apple Card. It was 2 separate things. You can't, you know, it's like, hey, we're going to gift you $200 on Apple Pay, blah, blah, blah. So you want to go use that at the store or something like that. But you can't use that as a purchase through your card. You can't combine the 2.
Oh, that is odd.
But now they're coming out with the Apple Pay type of card. So you can actually use that. So it's interesting. But they keep it separate because...
just to confuse you.
Well, I was figuring it out and I got $50 sitting there. It's like, whoa.
It's just collecting for when you buy something, you know, in September, you know.
But it's really interesting because, you know, when you trade something in and you get that card back, you can't put that into your card, your Apple Card, but you can use it in Apple Pay.
Or on iTunes.
Yeah, it's 2 distinct routes of funds. And they really, so I think they're going to open that up a little bit. I'd have to read more about it. And it's just rolling out to some people right now. So everybody doesn't have access to it right now, but it's coming out at 15.5. So we'll see.
Yeah, I find it a smidgen confusing to have, and I don't have an Apple credit card, but it's super confusing to have like the Apple Cash. And then I can imagine if you have your Apple Card on top, like, and then you get the free gift card for, you know, whatever. How does that all combine? Like they need to figure out a way to just streamline it all.
Yeah, like in Amazon, if you have built up a little bit of money in there, $40.
Oh, it's just right there. Check this box and use it towards this purchase.
Then your husband or wife says, hey, could you buy this? And all of a sudden there goes your $40. Boom.
We have an embarrassing amount of credit on our Amazon thing because we just haven't used any of it in a few years now. Let me see. The last thing we bought with it was, we always end up buying vacuums with it randomly. It's so weird. So it's been a few years since we bought anything with it. It's an embarrassing amount, like so much.
But it's there when you need it.
When you multiply it out and you're like, oh my gosh, how much have we spent on this card?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. There's a Waymap app that they're using out in Washington for the subways. So it's a way map, and you can use it to get around, navigate inside the subway system, the train stations, and all that type of stuff. So it's really interesting. Yeah, I like the idea. I mean, we got Good Maps, we got Ira, we got so many other type of navigation type of stuff. You can use your Apple Maps, you can use Google Maps, walking, everything. But the common thing that is happening is you have your phone in your hand held out in front of you, probably chest height, about 1.5 feet out. That's vulnerable. I do not like that.
Especially on a subway.
Well, especially out on a sidewalk, especially at a street crossing, especially out in public. You never know what you're going to encounter. I don't like the vulnerability of that type of usage, because how much is a nice phone? Between $1,200 and $1,600? You know,
and it's already unlocked when you're using it like that.
And most of them already paid the taxes on it, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's unlocked, and boom, that's a vulnerable spot. So I like the innovations that are coming up. I like all these ideas that they're having, but let's put the phone in our pocket and let's try it from there, navigating it, with your Bluetooth one ear, or have transparency mode.
But to be able to kind of run behind the scenes as though it's like a podcast or a music app or something like that. Well, tell me, how does Waymaps work? So I know with Good Maps, they actually LiDAR the area. So you're not reliant upon beacons or anything. And it's just using LiDAR and Bluetooth to help you. Do you know with Waymaps, because Ira and Google Maps and all that's awesome, but I'm guessing it frequently doesn't help you out a whole lot underground in like a subway station, So do you know if Waymaps is beacons or is it LiDAR? Or?
It's supposed to bring you within 3 feet. It's all mapped out, and it'll use identification through imagery to get you within 3 feet of your destination. They're mapping it out, and by June they'll have 300 and some different bus locations mapped into it. So just like Good Maps, they're mapping things out, but it's long and tedious. It's just like building a path that gets you everywhere you want to go. But what if you want to go somewhere else?
And I can't remember if I told you, Colorado DVR is doing something really cool just to pilot out Good Maps. They're looking into employing Good Maps at one of our Denver locations, which is where our personal adjustment training center is. So that's obviously heavily used by the blind and low vision community. And then our administration office, which is downtown, which is also used for a lot of stakeholder meetings and things like that. So they're going to have Good Maps come map all of that out so that it can be used, not just for the blind and low vision community, but maybe somebody who has a TBI or like has never been to this location before. Like there's a lot of other applications because it literally will tell you where the stairs are, where the elevator is. It'll even tell you, like maybe you're someone who can't remember which, it's like this maze of offices, can't remember which office is whose. It will tell you whose office is whose. That's the level of detail that Good Maps gets you, which is really cool.
And what's really neat about it is, I was talking with Michael May when he was on the podcast, Blind Abilities podcast, that it's set up so there will be some person at that company that it's easy enough, like a spreadsheet type of thing, that if Joe Smith leaves the company and now Mary Jones takes that office, they can switch that name out. So you can keep it updated, or if something gets moved around or if a convention comes in, you can lay out the tables and actually map it out that way too. So it's not like you have to reinvent the whole wheel every time. It's just that someone might get good at this, better at it. It's part of this Good Maps service is to map it out and to have someone be able to update it as needed.
And kind of be the on-site administrator in a way to change things out, call them something different if needed.
I'm not sure where this is going. I think we're a few years out. It becomes seamless because there again, you walk into a hotel with your phone out trying to navigate, because the phone has LiDAR. It's going to look at the pictures and it'll compare it to the database and everything like that and give you a general location, give you the information you need. I feel a little safer inside a hotel. I mean, the hotels in Las Vegas are, small countries, but
all bets are off.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting where this goes. And like I said, I want my phone put away. I want to just be a person walking around seamlessly. I think it's an information overload, some of this navigation stuff, for us to be able to seamlessly navigate and take in information that isn't instinctual, like, a bump on the elbow. I say we're 10 years out from some type of instantaneous reaction to the information we receive.
It's funny because this reminds me, there was an announcement made on GAAP, Global Accessibility Awareness Day last week, and Apple released some new features that they're going to be bringing. I think this is probably just only a very small amount of new features they'll be bringing. And they talked about the door detection feature, which
the door finder. Yeah.
I'm pretty good about finding doors with my cane. Like those are pretty distinct, So I don't know about that. I think it's a good thought. but maybe somebody might need that. But the really cool feature that I saw that if I had a hearing impairment or needed this was that they're going to roll out live captions on the phones, which that's a big deal. That could really empower more people to talk to each other in a more inclusive environment in like a meeting space. Like it's really easy to turn on live captions in Zoom or on Google Meet and things like that now virtually. But when it's in person, a lot of times that's a third-party service that maybe is being used, like a cart service or something like that.
It's expensive.
Yeah, and it requires prior planning as well. When we use Zoom, we used to book captioners. And many of the people who were using the captioners say that they far prefer the live captions because it identifies who said it, and they're actually pretty darn accurate, just as accurate as the captioner was anyways, because the captioner is technically dictating it and then pushing it out. So that live caption feature could be huge. And then subsequently, it could actually end up benefiting the blind and low vision community, because if they're pushing out those live captions thinking that they're going to be to the level of accuracy that's appropriate to be able to use as live captions, it's probably using the same engines for dictation, which could make dictation, because I don't know about you, Jeff, but my dictation has gotten worse, I feel like, over the last few months, where it's mixing up words, or if it's like, hey, I can't wait to go do that too, it'll say to you instead of just to. Like, it seems to be making more mistakes lately. So maybe that will improve too.
Him, them,
or something, and it'll say some space thing instead of something as one word.
I always have to double check everything, and sometimes it's naughty.
Sometimes they're embarrassing. Yeah. You're like, oh God, I have to fix that.
And sometimes it's like, I always wonder, am I lazy on my talking? Do I have to work on my dictation myself? Like, am I saying each word perfectly?
I don't think so, because I feel like it's when, was it 15 started processing everything on board. At the beginning, I feel like it was really accurate. I don't know what happened now.
It seemed like it was on steroids for a little while there. I mean, I've heard some people say that voiceover is like failing on the Mac or dropping its quality on devices. I don't see that. I mean, there's people who like PCs better. Of course they do. Because, 90% of the businesses, 95% of the businesses out there are using them. People should know how to use different screen readers and stuff like that. But I don't think things are getting complicated. What I think is getting convoluted is when they're working on accessibility, they're working on accessibility for 10 different areas. And I think sometimes it gets convoluted in how you get your phone set up, and it gets crazy with some of these screen readings or voiceover helping and all sorts of things about photo identifications and everything. I don't know how you improve it without making it too busy.
And I think that our community sometimes forgets that we are a community, obviously, but we're not the only ones experiencing these bugs. Like, the sighted world experiences bugs too that are just as annoying to them as whatever bugs we're experiencing are annoying to us. Like, for example, Facebook's gotten real weird lately. Like, they took away an action to be able to react to posts. You can still react to them. You just have to tap into the post and double tap and hold on the like button, and then you can do love and care and all that stuff. But it's not as fluid, obviously. They broke dictation for a while on posts somehow. I don't even know how they did that. Like, I didn't even know that was possible to break that. Facebook's been real buggy lately. But I can tell you, I'm in a lot of groups, and Facebook's been real buggy for people who can see too. It's not just us. Facebook, I think, is just getting a little too big and not doing proper testing before they push out updates, unfortunately.
Well, I have multiple accounts, and when I go into the account settings where I want to change my profile, they keep moving that around a little bit. So
it's very confusing.
If you get into a habit with Facebook, break them because they break them all the time. Now you have to go up to account settings and then go to the right to profile, then drop it down, then change profile. And when you drop into that profile, it used to default to the page that you wanted to go to because that's you. It's just how quickly we adapt to their changes.
And it depends too. There's a whole other complicated thing too, because you and I both have business pages that we post things to. It completely changes it too if you have the new page experience. Because if your page is one that has the new page experience, when you go to click that new page, it changes your whole Facebook app to be reflective of the newsfeed of that new page. And it's very confusing to figure out how to get back to your regular profile from there. Because I did that once and I was like, oh goodness, this is all, this page. How do I get back to my profile? It's very confusing.
Yeah, I do the drop list down and I press ACC and that brings me to the account. Then I go to the right to my profile and then I can switch out. But that's how I do it now. A month ago, I did it a different way.
Exactly.
Really? Did someone complain? Who complained about this? And
Gosh, the Business Suite app is just a joke.
It is.
Accessibility wise.
I don't know why they have it.
Barely usable.
Yeah.
I only use it to go invite people all at once to like the page because it is nice in there. If you keep scrolling down on that homepage that's in the Business Suite app, there's a spot that says invite people to join your page. And then it'll be like invite all the people that react and you can invite them all at once, which is nice. I'll have to show you that offline if you want, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can tell you're like, what? But that app is not very accessible. There's many unlabeled buttons for some reason.
What's it called now? What's their new name?
Oh, Meta.
Yeah, Meta Business. I don't see that name anywhere except for when it updates.
It does say it in the update. You're right.
That's the only place I see it. And it's like, okay, Business Suite. Yeah, it's interesting. I got to use it. I'm not a big fan about it, but it is kind of a family thing and it is a business thing and it is enjoyable. However, I don't know why everything has to change all the time.
I will say that Twitter has gotten more accessible. I know Callie and I had talked about some of the bugs we were experiencing. Like if we wanted to compose a post on Twitter, it was really hard to go back and review what you wrote.
Mm-hmm.
The other day I composed a post and it worked as expected. All the buttons were labeled. I was able to review what I wrote before I hit tweet. So they must have fixed whatever was going wrong with that at some point, because I haven't composed a tweet from my phone in a while, but yesterday it worked very, very well.
You said about dictation in Facebook, is that fixed?
It seems to be. I don't dictate my posts on Facebook a lot because it always adds that weird attachment at the end.
I hate those.
Where it says
what
like
are
3 or 4 or 5. I don't know if they can visually be seen or not, but they definitely are read and there's no way to delete it. So I try not to dictate on Facebook because it's the only place that it does that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's like these ghost little character fillers.
Mm-hmm. It's like just 3. It's like a little attachment thing. And I've never asked anyone if visually it shows something there or not.
Speaking about businesses, when I'm doing a page thing, I will use like text edit or something on the Mac and I will write out the whole post there, get it all there, and then copy the whole thing and paste it in all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I get these problems on Twitter where Twitter not available or something's wrong, like I think it's Safari's problem. But if I'm in there and I paste in one thing and then I start typing and stuff, all of a sudden it'll lock up and I have to get out of it and start over.
Facebook does the same thing. It'll all of a sudden you've typed a whole post and it'll say something went wrong and then the page is reset itself essentially.
Yeah, that's a no-go for me.
So I don't think it's exclusive to Safari because that's interesting that I experience it on Facebook and you experience it on Twitter and we're on 2 different platforms. So it's like, I don't know what's going on.
That's why I do it outside of all of them. I do it in an editor or some type of word processor and then I get it how I like it and then I cut and paste the whole thing. And that's really nice because then I can go to Twitter, to Facebook and go right down the line to different pages, different groups and stuff like that and just paste. Well, and it's funny. So I use a third-party scheduling software that I would not recommend unless you want to make an investment in it because it's pretty pricey per month, but it's called Sprout Social. Mm-hmm. For the most part, I mean, there's some workarounds I have to do, but for the most part, it's quite accessible. And what I love to do is Windows has this thing where you can kind of pen stuff to your clipboard and keep appending because I can only post to certain things in Sprout Social if I want to be able to have alt text on the images. So I do some stuff in Creator Studio, some stuff in Sprout Social, and I use that clipboard feature a lot. Like if you have Windows and V, I'm not sure if you can do it on the Mac, but it keeps your clipboard history if you have that enabled in your settings. And it makes it super easy if you're posting to multiple different things. Like maybe you have a link and some text you're posting, but you want to, do it a certain way. Because Facebook, you can post the link, but then delete it and it's still there. That magic trick. I just love having that clipboard feature where you can have, because I use the same hashtags on different things. So I just keep it all on my clipboard and it works amazing. So that's a time saver for me. I like the clipboard. What I really like is if you could keep a log of your clipboard, like go to clipboard and go down 3. You can. That's what I'm doing with it. My clipboard right now, because I haven't cleared it, probably goes back like 200 things right now. Oh, and then really? I will probably go clear it because there's 3 things that I keep clipped there like permanently. And it's the hashtags that I use on Instagram, a couple of alt text descriptions that I can't just like come out with myself. They're ones that are kind of more detailed that I use for certain pages. So those 3 or 4 things always are clipped there. And then my clipboard history is always there too. So like if I copy a link and then copy some text that I want, I can paste those separately when I need to, and then go back and get them if I'm posting them to a different platform separately too. And what program's that? It's just built into Windows. So if you go into your settings, or the easiest way to do it is to hit the start button and hit search. And in the search bar, you can just type in clipboard and then you'll see it'll bring up the clipboard settings. And one of the settings that's there is to enable clipboard history. And then once you do that, you can just hit
you can copy all over the place. And when you're ready to paste different things, as long as you're in a field where you can paste something, like you can't just be like, on your desktop where you really can't paste any text, you just hit Windows V and then it pulls up your clipboard history and you can scroll through it and just hit enter on the thing that you want to paste.
Oh,
it's
cool.
super awesome.
I've always wanted that. And I've seen some other applications where you can do that, but I haven't seen it on the Mac yet. I should investigate that.
I bet it has that feature. I mean, this is in Windows 10 and 11 because I had it enabled in my Windows 10 and on my Windows 11. It works more seamlessly on Windows 11. I will say it's less clunky, but it does still work on Windows 10 as well.
You never hear that Mac comes out with something and say, "Oh, Windows had that all the time." You hear that.
Sure.
You hear that
I
with
bet they have
Android
it.
and the iOS and the Android.
Oh yeah, like
stuff.
the Braille stuff that Android is improving now, and
You got a show you're watching on HBO.
I do. It's not super new. We're just kind of behind watching it, but it came out a few weeks ago, and it's called "We Own This City," and it's about the Baltimore Police Department and kind of how things ran in that police department. It's very The Wire-esque, if anyone's watched that. Which, just so you know, The Wire has audio description now on HBO Max, and so does "We Own This City." And it's one of those shows you have to be paying undivided attention. Don't even look at your phone if you get a text message because you will miss something. Very, very good show. I can't recommend it enough.
You said from the opening scene, you're just riveted.
Definitely. Because there's like an opening speech kind of thing. And you're just like, where's this going? Because this speech is, powerful. Not really powerful is not the right word, but you're like glued to it.
So that's HBO Max?
HBO Max, yes.
How much is HBO Max a month?
I don't even know. I think it's $17.99, I want to say. That's horrible that I don't know.
They have a lot of audio description now, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. They're adding so much on a weekly basis. They definitely held to their end of the bargain, with the settlement that happened a few years ago. And they're actually above what they agreed to have as far as number of hours of audio description. What's really cool is there's a lot of movies that they're getting the audio description tracks for. And then everything that comes out that's like an HBO original or an HBO Max original is releasing with audio description. I don't think I've seen anything that's new that has not released with audio description.
I got to look at that. I think one of the kids has it and it might be on our TV and they plugged it in. So I got to see if it's there. I
think you do, because the other show I recommended for you was The Gilded Age. Did you watch that?
Yeah.
That was on HBO Max.
Is that the 1800s, 1700s?
Yeah. 1800s.
Yeah.
I've been a little obsessed with Bridgerton lately. I'm late to the bandwagon. I know, everyone. Go ahead and just boo me now.
Oh, really?
I watched all of season 1, super intrigued. I'm struggling to get into season 2. Bridgerton. No, it's not a musical.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of a different one.
It is interesting that you say it's a musical, though, because it's also in the 1800s in like London. It's very distracting sometimes because they talk really fast, but then they'll be at these balls and they're playing this violin music and it's 1800s, right? But then all of a sudden you're like, that's an Ariana Grande song. Or like it's just very distracting because you're trying to figure out what song it is that they're playing with, the violins and stuff. And then you're not paying attention to the dialogue.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. I can't get into season 2. I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
I'm waiting for Apple TV to come out with their next line of shows, The Morning Show. I'm waiting for that season to drop.
Oh, that won't be till the fall, I bet. That's usually when those ones come out.
I know. Ted Lasso is another one.
I've never watched that one. I know. I feel like you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No. There's certain shows that may grab you, but it may not grab everyone. Hey, I be me, right? It's what I watch. I don't watch a lot of TV, but there's certain shows like The Morning Show. I will wait for that to come out, and I know I'll like it.
I wonder where they're going to go with it. Not to spoil anything for our audience, but I do wonder what it's going to be like next year because it's very dramatically different. So
such great acting in there. It's just, I don't know how Apple does it. Well, when you're the richest company in the world, almost,
It does almost make you not like Jennifer Aniston in real life.
And you like Witherspoon just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting where it's like, is she really like that in real life?
But on that last show, she kind of like...
Don't spoil it.
But she kind of came to heart.
There were some changes she made, yes.
Yeah, so it's like, things that make you go,
There's some shows we're in the middle of on Apple TV Plus. Severance. I think we've watched like 2 or 3 episodes. It's definitely one where you're like, where's this going? The other thing that we've been watching is on Amazon Prime, and it's called As We See It. Have you heard of that? So it's about a group of individuals. They're all adults. They're on the autism spectrum, and it's just about their lives. It's scripted, but it is such a good show. It's really, really good. And it has audio description as well.
There's another one of the author from like the 1700s. What was her name?
Dickinson.
That show, Lori likes that one.
I haven't watched that one yet. It took me a while to accept that I just need to sit and concentrate and be able to decipher through accents. Accents have been really hard for me because it's hard for me to distinguish who's who when there's accents.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten better with Bridgerton. That's kind of gotten because all of them have accents on that one. So I think I might be able to watch that one now and be able to enjoy it.
Yeah. There's lots of stuff out there. Well, I think we wrapped up this show.
I think we did. We gave our listeners so many shows to go watch now.
Mm-hmm. I think the audio description has really changed a lot because I don't watch too much without it today.
I'm a snob about it now. I really am.
You're the original audio description snob.
I am. I should just get like a shirt or something, right?
Well, or a hat. I mean, we could get the bling out there for people.
I'll get a headband.
Swag.
Swag, yes. We need some Blind Abilities swag.
Well, we have a couple t-shirts, but I gotta get some good swag.
We need to step it up. Like,
yeah, tech abilities.
If you're gonna do t-shirts, get some like tri-blend ones or something, some super soft ones.
Yeah.
Enough with this cotton.
Yeah, it's so 1990s, you know.
It's so 2020. Yeah.
When I had them made at an athletic store, right? I should get the tailored fit ones.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that. We could get some tech ability ones too.
That'd be super cool.
So if you're interested, and yes, Serena, I'm adding this one, in any blind abilities or tech ability swag, give us a call at 612-367-6093. Would love to hear from you. I want to thank everyone for listening. This has been fun just chatting away with Miss Callie. She's down there in Miami and busy.
We miss you, Callie.
Oh, there it goes out. We had to throw that in there.
Well, technically, I threw that in there, not you, but...
I'll edit me in there saying.
Of course.
I'll say it first. All right, from all of us here at Tech Abilities, y'all take care. I want to thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, bye-bye. Other than the one, I don't think we even added a phone number.
I was just about to say, when you edit, will you find a place to put the phone number in?
Yeah.
Like, as you were doing your outro, I was like, we didn't give our phone number.
Well, we can do it right now.
612-367-6093.
Give us a call. Love to hear from you. All right.
One day I'll actually know that. And then cue our funky music, right?
And for more podcasts with the blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, and give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave us a message and let us know if we can put your voice on the next podcast. Drop us an email at info@blindabilities.com and download the free Blind Abilities app from the App Store and Google Play Store. That's 2 words, Blind Abilities. And from all of us here at Blind Abilities, through these challenging times, to you, your family, and friends, stay well, stay informed, and stay strong. I want to thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations
and the
reality
of blind abilities.
The realities
of blind abilities.
Blind abilities.